Howdy folks, Widget Walls from NeedCoffee.com here. I have a video for you that's actually not about the membership drive. It's actually not about Need Coffee. It's a little personal, but it's a story that I want to tell you, and there's a reason why I want to tell you this story. It's a true story, like they say in the comic books, not a hoax, not an imaginary story. This is all real. So here we go. In 1996, I gave blood for the first time at a Red Cross bloodmobile because it was easy to do so. It was right there. Gave blood, went on my merry way, and a few weeks later received probably the worst rejection letter I've ever gotten. And in fact, I do have it here. There it is. From the American Red Cross. And basically, to make a long story short, they tested my blood sample, and I had tested positive on at least one test for hepatitis C. If you don't know, hepatitis C is it's bad. I mean, it makes your liver very angry. It can inflame your liver. It can give you cirrhosis. It can give you liver cancer. It's a nasty bastard, and it's basically the Lex Luthor of your liver. And so it says, to make a long story short, it turns out the first test was positive, although if you look on another sheet, multiple first tests were positive. Then they did a supplemental test, which turned out to be negative. And they go on to say that we're sorry to tell you we had to destroy the unit you donated, and we must ask you not to donate blood again. So your blood is unholy and unclean, and thanks, don't call us, we'll call you. I'm obviously paraphrasing. But basically, they also say, hey, if you feel healthy, you don't even need to talk to your doctor, which is weird. We can't use your blood, but yeah, you don't even need to bother your doctor with this. Don't worry about it. Now, I don't know about you, but I was a little alarmed upon receiving this because, you know, it's bad. And I looked up how you get hepatitis C. And there were two basic risk groups that if you fell into, you could get it. And they're still the same risk groups today. One is people who use dirty needles, okay, who share them. And the other is people who have unprotected sex with risky people. Not people, I mean, it just takes one person, you know. But so haven't really done the latter, right? No, I haven't done the former because I have never taken any illegal drugs whatsoever. And I'm not even saying that in the I'm shooting a video of myself, why would I admit to that, wink, wink, nudge, nudge type of thing. I really haven't. I mean, people who have known me for a long time can attest to the fact that I guard my brain chemistry pretty well because it's kind of fragile as it is. And, you know, this is, I mean, I'm like this anyway. Why would I need drugs, right? So, so anyway, I was alarmed, and I called my physician, and I said, what does this mean, and what should I do? And they said, well, this means that we need to retest you, and you should come in, and we will do that. So I went in, and they retested me, and they said, yes, we're very sorry to confirm that you have it. And I said, wonderful, so what do I do now? And they said, well, you don't really do anything. I mean, there's no way to really, you know, treat it. I mean, there might be today, but this is 1996. There's no real way to treat it. You can't cure it. You can't make it go away. If you start to show symptoms, we can treat them. But until then, you just kind of, yeah. So I said, okay, that's fantastic. And oh, and by the way, the #1 symptom, it looks like, for hepatitis, fatigue. And this is for a guy who does not sleep. So that was comforting. So anyway, over the years, I would get, you know, checked out to make sure that it wasn't sneaking up on me because it could reportedly do that. And they would say you're either okay or your enzymes are a little high, and you know, but you're pretty much okay. So fast forward to pretty much today, or the past couple of weeks, and I wanted to get checked out by a specialist because. Shall we say, if there were to be some reason why I was going to be on a different insurance plan, shall we say, that if for whatever reason that would happen, you know, would I be okay with moving to another insurance plan knowing that I have this pre-existing condition? So I went to see a hepatologist, not a herpetologist, mind you, but a hepatologist, and told him my story, and he said what I had been thinking for 13 years. Your story makes no sense. You don't do drugs. You don't run around having sex with, risky people. We need to start over. We're going to test you for the virus again, and we'll start from there. And I said, well, I've been tested. They said yes. And he said, I know. He said, but in the 90s, the antibody tests were notoriously inaccurate, I think were his exact words. And to the Red Cross's credit, they do say that there are false positives. That's why they retested me. But then, of course, I went for the third test, and 2 out of 3 said I had it. So the doctor said, yeah, you've got it. So I went in and got poked again and gave him a blood sample. And it turns out, to my surprise, I don't actually have it. I've never had it. I don't even have any antibodies. I have my lab results right here. And the only thing that came up was the high liver enzymes. They're high by about, 8 points. So yeah. The people ask, how did this happen? And basically what I can figure is that the antibody test they gave me at the Red Cross, false positive. The supplemental test was actually the most accurate of the bunch. And then when I went to go get retested, they probably did another antibody test, which was also a false positive. And then since then, what they've probably been testing me for is my liver chemistry. Because, if somebody comes and tells you, no, really, I have hepatitis C, unless you're a specialist who can put 2 and 2 together, you're probably not going to doubt their word on it when they tell you their story. But they were testing my liver chemistry and seeing that my enzymes were high. And I've gone through a battery of tests over the past few weeks, like a freaking episode of House or something. And it turns out that my enzymes are high probably because I just need to lose weight. So, wonderful. Why am I telling you this? Because I'm sure you're probably thinking, Widge, that's wonderful news for you, but why in the hell have you made us sit through this video? My experience has been that there are no there's no unique problems. It's very rare that there are unique problems. As you know, if you run into some kind of a problem, you can stick the question into Google, and chances are you find some message board with somebody talking about it. So it's very rare that you've got a problem that no one else has ever seen before. So my thought is that there are probably other people who, like me, got tested in the 90s, and under whatever circumstances, and think they have it and they actually don't. It's not unheard of, obviously, because it happened to me. And my thought would be that I could share this story, and that if it sounds familiar to somebody else, they could get inspired to go get checked out. Because it's bad to live with something like that. It's a different kind of bad to live with something like that and to find out that you never had it to begin with. Like for example, because basically my blood was poisonous, or so I thought. Every time I had a nosebleed, I was like the freaking guy from Crime and Punishment running around, oh, did I get it all? So it's not been, yeah. So here would be my admonition to anyone who this is ringing some bells with. I am not a doctor, obviously. This would be, a lot nicer. I'm not a doctor, but I would say please talk to your doctor. Ask questions. Make sure your questions get answered. There's nothing more annoying than not getting the answers you need from your doctor. Ask them what tests they've been running specifically, and ask to see the results of the test. Have the results of the test explained to you. And if you need to, go see a specialist who you can, get some additional help from. If your story sounds like mine. Now, your story may not end like mine, obviously. I'm sure you know that. But I don't want to give anybody false hope. I just want people to make sure that they're not going through something that they don't necessarily need to be going through, because that's not good. So that is my admonition to all of you. And I'll say one last thing. If for whatever reason two last things. First, if you're wondering, why didn't he tell me this? I can count on one hand the people who knew about this, who were not medical personnel. And the other thing is, if you're ever wondering why I suddenly stopped drinking, or you've never seen me drink, so that's all I have. I hope that is helpful to somebody out there who can get checked out and hopefully get some good news like I did. So I promise next time video will be funnier, assuming I was ever funny to begin with. And until next time, I shall simply say thanks for watching and be good.